Hey everyone, what's up? It's me again. I have hit 40-40 in SSF because I have no life, and I think I'm gonna take a little break from this league. But before I do that, I just wanted to make this video and talk about a couple things and share my thoughts on a couple things as well. So in this video, I want to first talk about what was my endgame loop in SSF, and then I want to dive in a little bit into what I think of the league overall, the recent changes and such, and then finally I want to wrap up with just giving some advice on some of the more difficult challenges in these challenges here. So yeah, I guess let's just go right into it. For anyone who is wondering, it took me a total of 168 hours played across 3 characters. I played for 5 days on this Lightning Strike Glad. Then I played for 1 day on my Splitting Steel Deadeye, and then I played for like a couple hours on a Earthshatter Berserker. But most of this work was done using this build right here, which is Lightning Strike Gladiator. And I have a bunch of videos on this character on my YouTube channel as well if you're interested in that. But yeah, so yeah, there it is. I felt like the challenges overall this league were a bit easier than in other leagues. I think all these challenges are SSF viable with the exception of maybe the one that required you to have 4 power runes or 3 power runes. That one was a bit rough, but I'll talk about that later. Anyway, let's talk about the state of the endgame in SSF. SSF is a mode that I really enjoy, but I do believe that with every patch, SSF becomes more and more inaccessible, maybe more and more less fun. I feel like, with every patch, they're like removing stuff from SSF and there's like less and less to do and less power that you have access to in terms of like crafting and build making and so on and so forth. And you can kind of see that for yourself as well. Just like go to like the Twitch page for Path of Exile, and you can kind of see that not many people are, playing Path of Exile in SSF these days, but I still like this mode. But yeah, so talking about SSF Endgame, I feel like with the addition of gold into the game, the endgame of SSF has kind of changed a little bit. Previously, I felt that the endgame in SSF was kind of vague. You could basically just farm whatever you want. But I feel like with the addition of gold, the endgame became very specific, especially because of how powerful gold was. Like gold allows you to, run your town, get crops, do shipments, and also if you're interested, do the map runner stuff as well, which also ended up being like an endgame thing for me. It wasn't really worth it early on, but like in the endgame, you do end up having so much gold that you can't really spend it efficiently, and you have like way more maps than you can run, so may as well just do some automated mapping. So yeah, my endgame loop for this league was something like do a bunch of T16s until I dropped a bunch of T17s, and you can drop more T17s by spamming the map scarabs, the cartography scarabs. And once I got a T17, I would just juice it to the maximum quant possible using an atlas tree that looked like this, which is mainly focusing on quant, rarity, and literally every single increased effective explicit modifier node that I could possibly take. So I'm like giga explicit modifier mapping, explicit modifier maxing is what I wanted to say. And the main idea is that every time you get a T17, it's basically a cash cow, and you can get so much gold from it. If you have the right scarabs in SSF, you can get like 100k plus gold in one map. The most I've gotten in one map was like 120,000 gold in one map. And there's a couple scarabs that make this, pretty easy to get this amount of gold. First of all, you have to have a build that's powerful enough to run these kind of juiced T17s. For me, this build, Lightning Strike Glad, was able to run like that kind of juiced T17 with like, 200, 250 quant after you take into account the modifier effect and everything. So yeah, I basically just, ouched it, tried to get it to like a very high amount of base quant, like 150. And then The scarabs that are the MVPs are these ones here. Influencing Scarab of Hordes. Just, use this in conjunction with pack size nodes here, and you can get huge influenced pack size. And then, Scarab of Monstrous Lineage gives you giga increased magic pack size. This one is like the giga one, Horned Scarab of Glittering. If you get this, you can like get such a ridiculous amount of gold, it's like not even funny. And there's also one more scarab that's also really good. I don't think I have any of them right now, but it's called, I don't even know what it's called, but it gives you like 150% like increased magic pack size or something. It's one of these horned scarabs. So yeah, these scarabs and the pack size horned scarab as well will like give you so much pack size and like so much item rarity and quantity that you can get upwards of 100k gold per T17. And it doesn't even take that long to run them as well, because these scarabs mostly just, make you drop more stuff rather than making the map like actually more difficult. So that was like the main building block of my endgame strategy. Just try to run as many giga juiced T17s as possible, just because they drop so much gold, basically. And when I was not running T17s, I just wanted to get as many T17s and scarabs as possible. So I was running an atlas tree that's something like this. And here I just wanted to try to drop as many cartography scarabs as possible so I could like get more T17s. I also took some scarab nodes so I could get more scarabs, because scarabs give gold and very good stuff. And then, yeah, that was basically it, just cartography scarabs, these kind of rare scarabs, and then just do T16s, farm scarabs, get T17s, run T17s giga juiced using this quant atlas tree, and just get a bunch of gold. And that was basically like my end game gameplay loop. And with this strat, I ended up getting like way more gold than I would possibly ever need. So like in here I have like, I re-rolled until I had like tier 9 and like tier 10 farmers and everything. And then after a while, I started to like see that re-rolling didn't really give me any more good stuff. So I kind of stopped re-rolling after a while. And then with the excess gold, I basically just did, automated mapping with whatever gold that I didn't need. Also, that helps you for like one challenge, and I'm a challenge Andy. So yeah. And that's basically it. That's kind of just a T17 loop. Whether that loop was fun or not, I don't know. It's definitely a little bit different from previous leagues, because in previous leagues, I felt like it was more open-ended. Like you didn't have to do T17s if you didn't want to. You weren't really missing out on that much in SSF if you were not doing T17s. But in this league, I feel like it's mandatory to like do T17s. It's just that like if you just do T16s, like you will get gold over time, but you're not going to get like 100k gold like, per map like you can in T17s if you like giga juice them. So yeah, just like one of the first league where I felt pressure to do like every T17, and T17s are its own topic. I think they need a rework. I think the current T17 system, like everyone else thinks, is not very good. It's not very fun. Like some of the mods are just, I don't even need to talk about this. Like, so some of the mods are fucking bullshit. There, I said it. I think the boss fights themselves are okay. The only one that's a bit sus is the Abomination boss. But if you have a good enough build, like you can do it. But yeah, it's just the mods and the tile sets, and it's not the most fun experience. Like. I feel like when I run it, I feel like every time I run a T17, I feel very tired after running it, because I have to like dodge Searing Exarch runes that are spawning on my ass, Awakener's Desolation, like all this random bullshit I have to like mindfully, carefully dodge. And, the boss fight's very hard at the end as well. I don't know. I feel like T17s in a current state are not very fun, and they need a rework. And, it was a little kind of, it was a little smooge that T17s are like so core to like your gameplay loop in these days. So yeah, have some thoughts on that. But that's basically it. You know, that was like my quote unquote SSF Endgame Loop. And then with regard to crafting, so for crafting in this league, I ended up farming Expedition nonstop for the first week, and that gave me enough ROG to craft basically all of my gear. So I think on this character, like 90% of the items that I ended up using were crafted using ROG. And then like maybe 10% of my items I crafted using essence spam. So yeah, just essence spam. And then one mechanic that I didn't really use this league to craft was harvest. And I thought this was pretty interesting. It's just that when you farm Expedition for 1 week, you end up with like very good items already. And then when you farm like a little bit of essence and finish off the rest of your gear with essences, I felt that I didn't really need a harvest at all. Like I got 40/40, I did like, 50 tier 17s, I did 5 out of 7 Ubers this league. I didn't harvest craft a single item for like any of my like relevant builds. I did harvest craft a couple items for like my third build, but I didn't really use that to like push endgame. So I think in the current crafting meta, I would say that harvest in SSF is completely optional. I think it actually is completely optional. Like you can do Ubers, T17s, progress your character to an endgame state without even touching harvest. The only thing that harvest is good for, but that I think you do need though, is like, I think like using harvest early on to reroll fragments to complete all your invitations is maybe the best use of it. Other than that, swap res is good as well. I mean, harvest swap res is like always good. So like I did farm a little bit of harvest just so I could get those, use those crafts. The swap fragment thing is especially good early on because it does help you like progress your atlas, unlock your favorite map slots, and so on and so forth, get your Uber Elder kill, get your void stones. So like harvest is good for that purpose. Now that you can like swap Uber Elder fragments and you basically swap every fragment now. So that's very useful. And then, yeah, but like in terms of crafting, I do feel like harvest crafting is totally optional. I did not use it at all this league. But like if you enjoy farming harvest and you can like tolerate it, there are definitely some good harvest crafts that you can make use of. Most notably like Reforged Chaos probably, and then like Reforged Fizz if you're playing a PDPS build, and so on and so forth. So like it is definitely beneficial, but I don't think it's mandatory in the current state of the game.
The smell of the sea salt on the wind.
Yeah. I also, another thing that I observed was that I didn't use Tujin at all this league. Not the ship Tujin, but like the Tujin in, this Tujin. So in previous leagues, I ended up like using Tujin a lot just to like get fusings and chaos orbs and whatnot. But in this league, I ended up not using Tujin at all, which I thought was interesting. Like, as you can see, I have like 200 rerolls here, and I have like hella logbooks as well. I think I re-rolled Tujin this league maybe 5 times total, and I didn't even like get anything that good from Tujin. So I would actually say that in this meta in SSF, Tujin is also optional, which I think is interesting. It's just that between the boat shipments, between the shipments and Searing Exarch altars, I found that I had enough of every type of currency to do everything I wanted to do. The shipments give me plenty of divine orbs, exalted orbs, some sacred orbs as well, fusings and other bubblegum currency. I got a lot of these from shipments. And then Searing Exarch altars gave me like an infinite supply of chaos orbs, alchemies, regrets, unmakings, and I basically, and then like for chisels, I would use the chaos orbs from my Searing Exarch altars to buy chisels from Kirak for 8C a pop. So I would just like, burn a mission and then go here, buy 20 chisels. And between Searing Exarch altars and the shipment loot, I had like enough currency to do everything I wanted to do. So yeah, I guess it did feel a little bit different that Expedition, Tujin, and Harvest this league, I basically didn't do at all. That was definitely like an unexpected meta shift for me. But honestly, I think it's pretty cool. You know, I think it's a good meta shift. Of course, it'll probably be different next league with, you know, whatever changes and the removal of, well, I don't know if this league's going to go core, but it'll probably be different next league. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. So yeah, that's basically it. That was basically my endgame loop. Just T16s, Searing Exarch Altars, drop Scarab, drop Cartography Scarabs, use Giga Scarabs to do T17s, get a lot of money from T17s, upgrade town with said money, and then whatever excess money, go do automated mapping, burn the excess T17s that you could never run all of these, and rinse and repeat, you know, avoid Tujin in Expedition, avoid Harvest, and that's what I did. So yeah. All right. Moving on to the next section. I do want to give some thoughts on the league as a whole. So this is going to be from the perspective of like an SSF player, I guess, if that means anything. What are my overall thoughts? I think the town itself is cool, but I wish there was like more different things to do. I felt that far because like okay, so the system of this league I feel is like, okay, so at a high level, what you're basically doing is you're going into a map, you're running around in a circle, and you're killing monsters, and those monsters will eventually at some point in the future like make it so that you get loot in the form of shipments, basically, because you kill the monsters in the circle. They give you, you know, a little bit of money and give you ores, and then the ores become bars, and then the money becomes crops, and then the crops and the bars you use in shipments to get some currency, basically. It's basically a complicated system where you kill monsters in a circle in your maps, and then at some point in the future, you get some currency and like a little bit of item drops, but mostly currency. And then if you have a little bit of excess currency, you do some automated mapping and get a little bit more random currency and shit, and very rarely like an okay item. And that's basically what the league was to me. I think the design of the league itself is cool. I just wish there was like more stuff to do in the town, because like mining, farming, smithing basically don't do anything at all. Mining, smithing, and shipping, mining, smithing, farming, you know, and like disenchanting, they don't give you any loot. They only give you resources to like do the next thing in the town. The only like loot yielding things are like shipping and mapping, and I guess to a lesser extent recombinating, which I also didn't really use, but like I just found that every time I recombinated something, it bricked. But, you know, maybe I didn't do it enough to make it worthwhile. But yeah, you know, if I had one complaint with the league, you know, you probably already know what I'm going to say. It's just that I think the loot from the league was just not enough. I got really frustrated with like how bad the loot was and how uninspiring the loot was, even when it was good. Like, you know, I think the whole shipping mechanic and like the resource min-maxing game is cool, but I thought the loot really sucked. And even when the loot was good, meaning that, you know, I got a shipment with like, you know, 5 divines and like 3 exalts and like 3 sacred orbs, like even when the loot was good, I feel like it didn't really change anything about the core experience, you know? Like, great, now I can have like 65 divines instead of 60, you know, 28 exalts instead of 25, you know, 6 sacred orbs instead of 5. Like, I feel like the loot from this league was like, it just wasn't inspiring to me because it didn't fundamentally change the gameplay experience. And that's a problem that I have. I feel like a lot of things in this game, like all they really do is give you like currency, but that doesn't change the game itself. You know, I remember back when like Maven came out for the first time, that league was like my favorite league ever. I don't even remember what it was called, but that was my favorite league because the end game got changed a lot. Like there was now like this thing called Maven, and you could do like invitations. And then there was like Exarch and Eater, and like Exarch altars and Eater altars, and you can like click them and like get embers, and you can put the things on your gear, and it's like super fun. Like that is like a league that's like a kind of league that I want to see again in this game. Like a league where the end game systems are like changed around, you know? So there's like more interesting things to do in the end game. I feel that a league like this, the town itself is a lot of fun to micromanage, but the loot from the shipping and, you know, the automated mapping, it just kind of sucked. And even when it didn't suck, there was nothing that you would get that changed your end game experience. So yeah. And then like, you know, there are like a, you know, 3 new bosses this league, but they're not really that challenging, and the loot from them is also not very good. I mean, you get like 50k coins if you beat some of them, which is great, but like the new bosses aren't really like end game defining. It's like you get them, it's a pretty easy battle, you win the battle, you get like some gold, and that's about it. So yeah, I wish that, you know, the end game for like I wish that Path of Exile leagues would change the end game in more meaningful ways. Like maybe just like a little bit each league. That would be good. Like add some new end game content to do, you know, add some new system that changes the way that you play the game, and fix T17s, and yeah. So like, you know, that is kind of just my thoughts on the league itself. Like the league has potential, but, you know, yeah, just loot was very uninspiring.
What do you need?
I also was a little bit frustrated about the whole quota system. Like, it was annoying to me how vague it was. Like, nobody really knows what is optimal. Like, some content creators are going to tell you only do big shipments. Other people are going to tell you only do small shipments. You know, some people are going to say only do like, you know, only do like 1k of each thing, only do a couple hundred, do like millions, only do a couple 100k value. Like everybody is going to tell you to do different things. And I think it's because nobody really knows what is really optimal. And it was frustrating to me that there was no like feedback from GGG about what was optimal and what was not optimal to do here. And that there was no information in game that like allowed you to like understand what was optimal. I thought that was just kind of just like, I don't know, it was just very annoying to me. It felt like us players were just like rats running around in the darkness, you know, and nobody really knew what was going on, and GG was just like looking at us, and they know how it works because they programmed it, but they were just like sitting back, you know, looking at us little rats running around in a dark box trying to figure out the league mechanic, and they're like, haha, look at all these scrubs. Like, they don't really know what's going on, and we're not going to tell them what's going on, and we're going to see if they can figure it out. It was just like the lack of information in the UI was like really annoying to me, and I wish it was like more obvious in the game, like what was going on, and like that we didn't have to like, you know, that the community itself didn't have to like, you know, sit around and figure out like what resource gave you what loot and whatnot. It's just annoying, you know. I don't understand the fun of like having a vague league mechanic like this. I wish it was more clear like what to do in this mechanic. That's all. So yeah. Also automated mapping. Yeah, the loot sucked. The loot really sucked for how expensive it was. Needs a buff for sure. Also, I wish more interesting items were returned from the maps instead of just, you know, some currency. I wish we got like more interesting items. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Just more interesting items, you know, like half crafted items. I don't know. Or yeah. So that's my overall thoughts about the league itself. I am underwhelmed with regard to like the end game, you know, change, like this, you know, how I felt that there wasn't really that much to do in the end game this league that was like different from before, and I thought the loot kind of needed some work, but I think the town itself is cool. I hope they keep it. I hope they reduce the costs of the runes. Angry face emoji, pitchfork emoji. These need to be cheaper. This is stupid. Power runes are too rare. yeah, the loot needs a rework. Endgame needs more content. Other than that, town is fun. And yeah, that's all I have to say about this league. Yeah, okay. So moving on to next part of the video, I just kind of want to talk about some of the challenges and give you some advice on how you can complete these challenges with greater ease. So yeah, I do have 40/40. I did all these in SSF because I have no life. And yeah, I mean, some of these are pretty straightforward, but I'll just like go through all these from like the hardest ones first and just kind of like share my thoughts on how you might do these. So yeah, here we go. Okay, so grinding gear goals. This one was pretty straightforward. I think this is one of the easier ones. I mean, the easiest ones here are probably, I mean, the Eldritch Altars is like totally free. The defeat rare monsters is totally free. Completing tier 17 maps is also free now that they improved the drop rate. I had no problem like dropping this many T17s, and like I even failed a couple like in the early league. So, you know, pretty straightforward. Just have a build that can do it, like Lightning Strike Glad. And then this last one gave me a little bit of trouble. I had a couple strats that made this easier. Again, like doing the T17 farming strat with like the quant and everything. That allowed me to get enough gold to run 2 of these map things just like constantly and just like pump these out. But, you know, this would not have been possible without like T17 farming. So these last 2 kind of go hand in hand. The other 2 are easy as well. I mean, level 100 is easy if you are going to get level 100 anyway. I personally don't find it fun to grind to 100, so I never do this. But, you know, if you are a level 100 player, that one's probably going to be the easiest. And then if you like lab, I guess you can do dark shrines, but I hate lab. So yeah, I'm not going to do that one. But yeah, so for the last challenge here, there's like a couple of things I did to make this easier. So in order to run like tier 14 plus maps rare with like a high chance of success, you really do need high tier mappers. However, high tier mappers are extremely rare. Like in the whole league, I only ever got 2 tier 10 mapping boys. And I was very lucky that these mapping boys did not die. If they died, that would have been a lot of suffering for me. But yeah, so I ended up just like, you know, using the gold from T17s to like predominantly roll for mappers. I have like one here that's just like tier 10s and tier 9s. And this was like enough to run tier 16 rare maps. What is my character doing? That was weird. But yeah, like tier 10s and tier 9s are enough to run like rare T16 maps with like 1% chance for a map runner to die. And you have like 60 to 100% chance to complete. So I just like did that. Another thing that you can do is like you get a tier 14 map and you don't alch it. You just like transmute it and then regal it. So like for, I don't know why it's not, or I'm like getting lag here. So like you can increase the chance that your map runners do the map by transmute and then regaling these things. And you know, that increases the chance that they do it compared to just like straight up alching it because it has like fewer mods. So like this second map device here, I only had like level 8 bros because I didn't have enough level 9 and plus, not level 9 and level 10 bros. So I would just like, you know, transmute regal to like increase the chance that the tier 8 mapping bros can finish the map. And that's how I did that one. This one, I feel like the Uber boss challenge was a bit easier this league compared to previous leagues simply due to what I think is a little bit of power creep. I think the new melee is like crazy. Like Lightning Strike is just crazy this league. The new Gladiator I think is very good with the Giga block and the instant leech. I think it's very good. You know, Giga attack speed, block, and damage via Lightning Strike. And, you know, there's like other archetypes as well this league that are extremely powerful. I think mana is good. And, you know, slams, of course, I think is also good. You know, just like melee in general and like Archmage, I think are like the two Giga dominant archetypes right now. But like with all these changes, I feel like my character this league was way more powerful than other leagues. So, doing Ubers this league I think is more accessible than ever before. Another thing that made this challenge easier was the fact that T17 drop rates have seemed to have gone up a lot. Like I remember T17s used to be pretty rare and you had to like magic find if you wanted to get a bunch of these. But I mean, first of all, magic find is removed now, but the drop rate of T17s definitely was improved a lot, and I had no problem farming Uber fragments in SSF this league. So it is still demotivating to like farm T17s because it sucks. It's not very fun. The map mod pool is toxic, and it feels bad to like get one Uber fragment after beating a T17. So it was not easy to do this challenge in SSF. It fucking sucked, but it was more accessible this league than before due to the improved drop rates of T17 maps and the what I think is power creep in character power. So yeah. Okay, this one, Nightmarish Nemesis. This one is deceptively easy if you know what to do. The main idea, I can even like show you guys actually. I can even show you guys like what I would do. So the main idea is that if you take every single map modifier effective explicit modifier node on the Atlas tree, you can get like a huge multiplier to your quant. And then of course you would take all the quant nodes as well. And the combination of the 8% from the map device and all this map modifier effect and all this bonus quant usually is enough to push your map into the 250 plus quant range. I can even demonstrate because I have one here. So like what I would do is you would use the normal chisel because that gives you 20 quant. And then I would just like ouch these until I get like, 145 or like 150-ish. Again, like the process of rolling these maps is, of course, total cancer. I hate the mod pool. I hate how much chaos you have to spend to roll these things and how build disabling these mods are. It's a pretty bad experience. Fortunately, you get enough chaos orbs between the shipments and Searing Exarch altars to do this in SSF, but it is very annoying. Like sometimes it takes me like 25 C plus to roll one of these. Just the worst mods ever. See if we can get like an easy one here for the video. Okay, this one's pretty straightforward. Although this one's only 116, but I wonder if it's enough. I think 116 may be a little bit too low, actually. I think usually there's like a certain mathematical number of quant that you can go for to deterministically get 250 plus. Can't remember what it is though. It's like 130-ish. Should I cut this out of the video, rolling a T17 map? I'm gonna leave this in just to further the point that I said earlier, which is that T17s are toxic and they need a rework and the mods suck. Okay, so like this one is 142, right? This one's 142. So like for example, I would like put these scarabs in here for the pack size, glittering scarab for the quant, and I have like 2 more scarabs that can go in as well. Probably just do like shrines because these 3 are the main ones and I don't have the pack size one. So I don't have the horned scarab that gives pack size. So just put these in here. The scarabs don't really matter for this challenge. I just put them in here for the map itself. But yeah, so you have 20 quant from the chisels. You have maximum quant and modifier effect from the Atlas tree. And then you click one of these altars because these altars can also give you quant. And if you have less than 250 quant and you click a quant altar and you beat the map, it does count as one. It does count for the challenge because I did it that way. And you would just like run the map with this. Make sure you click the 8% increase quant up here and you go. And here, if you open the thing to the side, you can see here that this map is how much quant? 267. You see right here, 267. So that's how you get it over 250 quant T17. You don't have to val the maps. I would definitely not recommend valing these maps. The valuing these maps does give them more quant, but you could also brick it, which would be terrible. And if you have like 140-ish quant on the base map and you do all the things I mentioned, you can get over 250 without even needing to press a single altar to get more quant. So that's basically how I did that challenge. Pretty straightforward stuff. And then, yeah, of course, you do need a build that can handle this. For me, Lightning Strike Gladiator was enough to like, do this kind of content. Okay, this one, challenging competitors. This one is pretty straightforward as well. I think the ones that I've completed are the most easy. The first two are definitely very easy. Anchor Smash and Soak to the Bone is really easy to avoid. This is the, the boss that hijacks your shipments. Just very easy to do the first two. The Sasan, the Bandit Lord one, being hit by hail of arrows was kind of like hard to avoid for me. I don't know if like walking on the fire arrows like counts as that or not, but yeah. Other than that, like, not getting hit by the circle of flame is probably the easiest. It's very obvious like when he does it and you just like go far away and you don't walk into it. Pretty straightforward. And then Black Knight without getting hit by the falling rocks was also pretty straightforward. This last one I think is kind of impossible, not being hit by the laser. I don't really know how you're supposed to do this. Like, let me know if you've actually done that challenge, because I tried it a bunch of times, but like as soon as the rock dies, like you instantly get hit by the laser. And if you run around in circles, like you do get like, hit by the laser as well. I think this last challenge was not designed properly because I think it's like impossible. Maybe if you have enough damage to like insta beat him, you can do it, but I don't know. But these other four were pretty straightforward, thankfully. This one's pretty straightforward. No, not much to talk about. This one, inciting invitations. So this one, for those of you who are wondering, you can use like the Black Star invitation to do this. So like the way that I did this fast was that I basically ran a bunch of like Searing Exarch altars just like for farming, like other stuff. And then I ended up with a bunch of Black Star and like Searing Exarch ones. And I just like alched and vowed those until they were like, 70 to like 100 quant. And I just spammed them. And that was like very easy to do. One mistake that like some people in like my stream chat did was that they ran like Maven invitations, which is like, yeah, this challenge would be very pain champ if you did this the Maven way. It would take forever. But yeah, you can use like Black Star invitations, Searing Exarch invitations, and you can do the same thing with like the blue ones as well. And that helps you do this a lot faster. So like make sure you're running those invitations with like, item quant on them for this challenge. And then this one is also pretty straightforward, Some of these are really hard to get in SSF. I mean, the ones that are like impossible in SSF, I think is like Hinakora's Mirror, Teardrop, and Mist. It's just that I played the entire league and I never saw a single one of them. I don't know how easy it is to farm Divine Teardrop, but like I would not recommend farming Beyond in any case. It just kind of sucks and doesn't really feel very rewarding. And then, Mirror is a mirror. And then Hinakora's Lock and Reflecting Mist are like super rare. I didn't see a single one this league. But I think all the other ones are pretty straightforward to farm. Sacred Orb, you get these like in the shipments. Tailoring Orb is pretty common in Heist, Tailoring or Tempering Orb. I got this in like less than a couple hours of Heist. Conquer Exalted Orb is almost like deterministic to find these because you get so many Conquer maps. Veiled Orb is like deterministic that you'll get one eventually. And then Orb of Dominance and Awakener's Orb are also not that rare. I do have an Orb of Dominance. Awakener's Orb, I didn't get a single one this league, but it's not that uncommon to get it from Cirrus. And then Fracturing Orb was a little bit of a pain to farm. I ended up doing Harby for like a whole day with like max Harby on the tree and scarabs, and I ended up like dropping one like in a day. So that was very helpful. I don't think it's like as rare as like before with like the new scarabs and the tree. So it's like possible to farm this in SSF, but it was kind of annoying. And then Orb of Conflict is like pretty common. So these are like the ones that I went for. But yeah, like the ones on the left-hand side here, And then Orb of Dominance and Orb of Conflict are the easiest ones. This one, Agitated Adversaries. The only one here that's like really hard is Lycia. It's hard because you have to not only do like Sanctum, but also like not getting hit by Heretic's Ire is really hard. I think Heretic's Ire is the debuff that's applied to you when you get hit by the spinning blades that Lycia summons. It is very annoying to do this challenge. I would not recommend it. But like the other ones are pretty straightforward and almost deterministic. Like you have infinite tries on Mastermind and Azaro. The Azaro one is a little annoying, but it's not that hard if you just like have a high DPS build that can like move fast and dodge it. You can kind of like, he usually does the cascade after the slam, so you can kind of like telegraph it. And then King of the Mists was pretty straightforward as well. So this invitation you get from Ritual now. You have to like do rituals until you get the nameless ritual, and then that will give you an invitation to fight the King of the Mists. And then you just, you know, one of the Ritual of Meditation and Ritual of Dance, one of these you stand still, one of them you keep moving, and then you can like deterministically do this as well. It's not that hard. I did it on my first try. It is a little annoying because if you mess up, you have to like wait until you get another nameless ritual, which is annoying. But yeah, basically all these except for the Lycia one are like pretty straightforward to do, in my opinion. I guess the last one would be annoying because you do have to delve to find him, but like once you find him, it's easy. I just didn't feel like delving, so yeah. Fully upgrade all of King's March. This one, like you will just get this eventually. You know, especially if you do T17s, you just get so much gold from it that you'll eventually get this. And then all these other ones are pretty straightforward. Oh, Arduous Atlas. So this one gave me a little bit of trouble. Arduous Atlas was actually the number 39th challenge that I completed. It took a very long time. There are a couple ways you can make it faster. There's like one cartography scarab that makes maps drop with 8 mods. And you want to like giga juice your maps that you are using that scarab on. Because the key to doing this one is you drop a lot of maps that are 8 mod and then you just run those 8 mod maps. And, you know, of course, it helps to have a build like Lightning Strike, which can run every map mod. I mean, some of them are harder than others, but like you can, with a couple of adjustments, run every map mod on this character. So I guess character choice kind of makes some difference here, but yeah, that's like the main strat. Just use that cartography scarab to drop 8 mod maps and then run them. Other than that, it's basically just ouch, chisel, val. And, you know, yeah, the key is just to run 8 mod maps. And you also don't have to run T16s for this one. So like if you really wanted to, you could just like take some white maps and then just like ouch and val them and just like boss rush them. So like there's a lot of different ways to do this. It does kind of take a lot of playing. There's no way to make it faster. But yeah, it is deterministic that you'll get it as well. So yep, there you go. This one was pretty straightforward. I think all these other ones are just relatively straightforward and easy. Don't really have to talk about these. You basically just do them. Not too much to talk about here. Oh, and then Remarkable Realms, this one. This challenge is like, you know, present in every league. I don't know why. I wish they would not have this challenge. I think it's kind of annoying. But the main strat is, to summarize it in one sentence, is you take this Atlas notable here, Planar Tactician, allows you to drop comprehensive scouting reports, and then you take Expert Reconnaissance, which gives you more scouting reports, and you basically scouting report max, and the comprehensive scouting reports give you a chance to get a Dorianes. If you didn't do that, you would have to farm Delve until you got Architect, and then you'd have to pray that the Architect drops this map, which is mega pain. Would not recommend. So yeah, I just like did comprehensives. Eventually you'll get it. It's not that uncommon. And then everything else you'll eventually, you know, get with Kirak missions as well. Just like make sure to scouting report max. And then, one thing you can also do is you have like one white map mission, one yellow map mission, and one red map mission or more. And then every time you use a scouting report, you can like roll 3 different inventories of Kirak. So like I basically saved all my scouting reports until I had like one of each mission type in the end game, and I just like spammed it and I got a lot of these done. The only one here that took me a really long time to find was Coward's Trial, which is kind of annoying because Coward's Trial has a very low drop rate and you can't farm it via like a div card or anything. So that one gave me a bit of trouble. I'm not sure if there was an easy way to farm that or not. What I ended up doing was like putting Cursed Crypt on my favorite map slots. And I was like praying that like when I dropped a Cursed Crypt that the game would like make it a unique with like item rarity or whatever. I don't know if that's like a valid strat or not to like favorite Cursed Crypt and pray that the rare Cursed Crypt map goes unique. But yeah, I ended up just like getting this via Kirak mission rerolling. But yeah, it took a while. Another thing that some people like were doing was they would like get some Cursed Crypts and then chance these. I guess you could technically chance a Cursed Crypt into a Coward's Trial. I've never done it. It would probably take a lot of chance orbs, but I guess that's like also something you could try, which I probably should have tried that, but yeah. And then all these other ones are pretty straightforward as well. I think the Lore Weave one here is easier than Grasping Mail. Lore Weave, you just collect 60 unique rings. It's not too hard to do. It just takes a while. This one kind of gave me a lot of annoyance, but then I realized you only had to complete 3. So like you don't even need to find Nameless Seer for this one. You can just like do the first 3, which are pretty straightforward. And then all these other, this one gave me a lot of trouble. This one I think is a little toxic. I think this one is the worst one in SSF. Sublime Starlight. This is the worst one because you need to craft with a power rune. And oh shit, I wasted my portals. I hope I can finish this map with 4 portals. But yeah. So like, first of all, like you need the power rune drop rate is so trash. In the entire league, I only found 4 power runes and I played for like 160 hours. That's like 1 power rune every 40 hours. That sucks. Like who wants to play 40 hours for 1 power rune? I don't know what they were thinking with the drop rate. In addition, it's especially pain champ because you actually cannot 5-to-1 power runes. If you see here, you can 5-to-1 everything up to time. So like 5 mountains becomes 1 time. However, 5 time runes becomes a scroll of wisdom. You actually cannot 5-to-1 to get power runes, which is like total pain champ. I don't understand why you can't do it. And I don't understand why the drop rate of power runes is so bad. But yeah, this challenge is toxic in SSF. I would like personally avoid it if you didn't feel like doing it. It's just that it takes so long to get power runes and there's no easy way. You really do have to just get lucky. Like I got like 1 power rune in like a 100 crop shipment once, and then I got like 1 in like a 1 million one, and I got 1 in like a 20 million one. It's like super random. There's no way to like force it except just to like play a lot and pray that you get lucky. I do think that the higher value shipments have a higher chance of dropping this, but it is ultimately just random. So it's kind of cringe. I dislike this challenge. And you also need 1 power rune to upgrade the bench so that you can use power runes. So you need like a minimum of like 4 power runes because the easiest one to do for this challenge is the mana one. Where is that?
Yes, that is a plausible reason to
this is the easiest one because war runes and bound runes are really common. So I ended up crafting this Mana Leech is instant mod simply because it was the cheapest one. You only need 3 power runes, which is like 4 power runes in total, including the 1 required to upgrade the bench. And the other 2 are very easy to get. There is another one that requires 2 power runes, but getting 40 mountain runes is very difficult. and I played like 160 hours and I only got like, 17 mountain runes, and there's like not enough to like 5-1. So yeah, this one is kind of difficult to get. And all the other ones are either very expensive as well, or they require just like way too many power runes. Like, I guess this one you could also do, but it's like on a mace, so it's like kind of whatever. But yeah, you basically just want to do one of the ones that have 3 power rune cost. Or if you somehow have like 40 mountain runes, you can do the one that requires 2. But yeah, in my opinion, the rune crafting was the most bullshit of this league. It is the power rune drop rate was extremely bad. I don't understand why the power rune drop rate is so bad and why you can't 5-1 for it. I think it's toxic and needs a rework. I also wish that some of these mods were like more impactful and more like build defining rather than just like free power for people in Trade League. So I'm a little salty about the SSF viability of the rune smithing table, but whatever. I hope they change it. They probably won't though. But yeah, that's how you do that one. No easy way to get this. Just shipments and I guess bosses and try to get lucky. That's about it. And then everything else I think is pretty straightforward. You just do what it says and it's not terribly difficult. Yeah, overall, I would say that the challenges this league were easier than normal. I definitely have had a much harder time doing other league challenges. I also do appreciate that there was no conditional like challenges. Like there was no like conditional Uber challenge, which was very nice. Conditional Uber challenges are cancer. I guess this one does kind of count as a conditional challenge, but like 4 of these are not that difficult. So yeah, it's just the laser challenge is fucking stupid. They need to like change this challenge somehow because it's dumb and it's like impossible. But yeah, that's about it. Hope anyone, I don't know why you would do challenges in SSF. It doesn't really seem like the most fun thing to do, but if you are an SSF challenge Andy like myself, maybe you could learn something from this video. Other than that, yeah, that's about it. I'm now gonna do this map and have some Oreos and milk, except I ran out of milk, so that sucks. Wow, I forgot to get milk today. Anyway, yeah. That's gonna be it for this video. Hope you learned something about SSF or endgame or challenges or whatever. I do need a break from Path of Exile for a little bit because I've been playing like way too much the last 2 weeks. So I'm probably going to take like a short break from Path of Exile, and then I may be back at some point in the future to like try out some new builds or do some more stuff in this league. I don't know, but yeah, I guess just stay tuned. Other than that, that's about it. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.